All right, everybody. Welcome. This is Jordan from Beck and the Death Gaming. And I've had a couple of requests to kind of explain and play this game a little slower and explain how to play it, I guess. This is Europa Universalis 4 by Paradox Games. And I really love this game a lot. It doesn't have a storyline. It doesn't have flashy, crazy moments. But the reason why I like this game is that every time I get on, it's a completely different game. And as you see me play, I'll probably post some more videos of me playing this game. You'll kind of see that it is very different every single time I play it. So, for those who are just signing in or playing this game for the very first time, you're going to see a lot of things on the screen. And I'm going to try to do my best to explain what those things are or what you do. So, as you see down here, the game starts in 1444. Before I press play, from what I understand, every nation is historically accurate, from what I understand. Like I said, from reading it, it says that every nation is where they're supposed to be. But as soon as I hit play, everything changes. So when you first start, it's going to give you some recommendations of nations to play as. I always recommend new players to play somewhere in Europe, because the farther you go away from Europe, the harder it gets as the game progresses. I have played France, I've played Hungary, I've played Poland, I've played Ottomans, Castile, most of the bigger players here in Europe I've played as. And today we're going to start off with the very first one, the Ottomans. Ottomans are really nice and forgiving for first-time players. You have a really good monarch, and I'll explain what these numbers mean and what the ideas mean. But a good reason why the Ottomans are pretty easy to play as in the beginning is that you can expand into Europe, into Eastern Europe. You can expand south into Africa, into the Middle East. You can go into India. You can really expand a lot of places. And with how strong the Ottomans are and how strong they get late game, they're a pretty easy choice for beginners just to learn the ropes and to kind of get that leg up for mistakes, because they're going to happen. You know, I've put in quite a few hours into this game, and I still mess up and make mistakes. So we're going to go ahead and play as the Ottomans. So a big thing to look at before we even press play. So this is our current ruler. He's age 12. So he gets us 6 base administrative skill points, 4 base diplomatic skill points, and 6 military skill points. Now these points add up for us to get administrative ideas, diplomatic ideas, and military level ideas. And then by unlocking things with our monarch points, we can get these extra bonuses for our country or for our nation and make us even stronger. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and click Ottomans. I'm going to go ahead and press play. I always suggest start off in normal mode. The big difference between normal mode and Iron Man mode is that normal mode you can save and go back if things don't go your way. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So this first video is basically going to be us kind of discussing what I look for as playing the Ottomans, and I probably won't even press the play button on the top right corner of the game. There's a lot that goes into it so that we can kind of figure out what we're doing. So when we first start, it kind of gives us a little history of the nation that we picked, our religion, we are Sunni. It kind of gives us some perks for that. Our government type, we are a monarchy. Environment, kind of what's around us. Okay, so like I said, before I even start, there's a couple things I look at. So one, I kind of go here to take a look at my economy. So this is the treasury. So we look at the ducats. So right now, instead of gold, they're called ducats. So I'm earning 11 plus 11.04 ducats a month. So that tells me I have a very strong economy. You always want to be positive. Anytime you go negative, obviously that's a bad thing. This is my manpower. Manpower is really important, because if I'm in a war and my manpower goes to 0 and I start losing troops, it's going to be very hard for me to continue on that war. So I want to pay attention to this manpower. Same thing with my sailors. So my maximum sailor capacity is 4,040. Currently I have a little over 1,600. My stability, the more stability I have, the better things get in terms of, usually there's tax bonuses, people are less likely to revolt, whereas if it's a negative stability, people are more likely to revolt. I don't get as much money from the people, and there's more revolting that happens. Corruption, pretty bad too. It can affect power costs, autonomy, spy defense, network, so it kind of affects a lot of things. Prestige, the more prestige you have, you get some extra benefits and perks. This is legitimacy. Obviously, once again, the more legitimacy you have, the more perks you get. Power projection, when I hover over it, you can read exactly what it is that you get for bonuses. So these 4 icons are on here as well. So my diplomats, I have 3 diplomats that I can use to spy on people, to build relationships with other nations, to do lots of other things. So those guys are pretty important. And in the beginning of the game, I use them quite a bit. So you have Ottomans have 2 merchants. The thing with merchants, I'm still learning about merchants, and there's a lot of different things that you can do with them. So like I've put in over 555 hours into this game, and I'm still learning new stuff about it. So I have 2 merchants. One is over here. So let me go ahead and open this tab. This is my trade tab, and it'll tell me what is around me. So here's the Constantinople. This is the Crimea trade node, the Aleppo trade node, and the Alexandria trade node. Your home trade node, you don't have to have a merchant there to collect the trade from it. But it's really important to notice that this trade node, that there's another country right here, and that's Byzantium. So if I want to get full power of this trade node, I'm going to have to go to war with Byzantium. So, like I said, that's what merchants are for. They go out and they get you some money. Obviously, you have armies. In this game, they're called, people call them stacks. So this one is 16k army, or 16 stacks. This is my 14 stack army. And typically the composition, you have your infantry, you have some cavalry, and later in the game, as you unlock military tech, you can get artillery. And artillery is really nice for when you're sieging down forts. You have your navies. Obviously, the navies fight in the water. When I'm playing this game, or when I first started playing this game, I didn't focus on navies. I didn't focus on my merchants. I was just learning the base of learning how to do troops, and it took quite a bit of time. So here we have some tabs that are kind of notifications. So depending on how you're wanting to play this game will definitely affect what you do. In terms of opening moves, who you want to attack, if you want to expand outward, if you want to build up, in terms of playing so tall, where you develop your nation, you become strong, or you play wide, where you just conquer everything in your path. I'm a big fan of risk, so I like to play as wide as possible, meaning I am trying to conquer as much as I can before the game ends. Nice thing about Europa Universalis 4 is that there's no winning, so to speak. There's no you play until you feel like you've done what you wanted. Obviously the game officially ends in 1821, so from the year 1444 to 1821, but you can play beyond that. There's just nothing official. So my nation is the Ottomans, and there's also provinces, and they kind of give you different bonuses and things. As you can see that some of them have different trade that are worth different things. So that's important to note. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on this tab. So this is the top left shield. You can click F1 for the quick tab for it. And this kind of tells you a couple things here. So once again, it displays your monarch points are for your king. Who are our enemies? So people that consider us an enemy. So we have Hungary, who doesn't like us, who's up here. We have Lithuania, who's over here, that doesn't like us. Austria, who's over here, that doesn't like us. and the Mamluks, who are over here and don't like us. So part of this is we want to look for rivals that we can select because we get extra perks for rivaling people. So I definitely am wanting to expand over here and over here. So these are people that are roughly the same size as I am that I can rival. So I want to rival Hungary because we're bordering them. I want to go to war with them. Another person that I'm going to rival are the Mamluks. So this one says that they have about 8% bigger army than us, but we haven't built any troops yet. So once we build more troops, we will be able to have a higher army. And another person I'm going to rival is I see that we have some Venice around us. So we're going to go ahead and rival Venice as well. Okay, so now I have my rivals. I know where I'm wanting to expand. Let's go ahead and look at the economy tab. So this says we get plus 11 a month, but right here this says we're getting plus 5 a month. So this is more accurate. So we have our income, we have our expenses, and our total income exceeds our total expenses. We can adjust numbers here. So let's say if I want to make more money, I can move my army maintenance, which will give me a higher balance. This is trade, so I can send my merchants to trade around these different missions. This is our technology, so this is where these monarch points are really important. By upgrading our technology, we're able to unlock buildings, we're able to unlock troops, and the higher technology we have, the better our nation is going to be compared to other nations. Later in the game, there's going to be institutions that spring up, and these institutions, so we have feudalism, which we are fully embraced. We have Renaissance, which hasn't sprung up yet. That won't spring till estimated 1450. But as these get unlocked, we're going to be kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of other nations, and you'll kind of see as we play what I'm talking about. So part of having such a high income of 5.21 ducats extra a month is that we can get advisors. So what advisors do is they usually give you a little bonus to some sort of modifier, and they give you a +1 or +2 or even +3 to your monarch points. So I'm looking at this and I see that there's a national tax modifier advisor, so I'm going to go ahead and grab him. So that will increase our administrative to getting +9 a month. So our treasury is going to go down because of that, but that's okay. And then military. So we have national manpower modifier, which is a +2. He's going to be very expensive. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the land force limit modifier. So what that means is the land force limit modifier affects how many troops that we can have in our army at one time. So as we are going, we're going to click on our armies, and we're going to see how many troops we can build. So I can build up to 42 troops. Right now I have 30 in my army. So we're going to build a couple of our infantry and a couple cav. We're going to go ahead and build some infantry. Oh, I don't have enough manpower, so I have to wait on that. The reason why I'm building more troops is because in here you get missions, and as you complete missions, you get extra perks. So the Ottomans, they get their own special tree list for missions that they can unlock, so that way they can make their nation stronger. These are ideas, so as we unlock those, we'll kind of go through them more, but once again, kind of depending on how I'm playing this game and what my goals are, will determine what I pick for my ideas. These are missions, so I can do a lot of different things here. So I can, let's see, so if I enact these national decisions, it generates certain perks. Stability and expansion. So this is an important screen too. If I have too high of a war exhaustion, it's going to cost more to core places that I take over. Having high overextension causes more people to riot, and having a higher stability, like I said, increases a lot of extra perks. National unrest goes down, missionary strength goes up, institution spread goes up, so that's pretty important. I can form colonies if I want, but typically as Ottomans, at least I don't play that route where I go and colonize. I focus on trying to expand in Europe, in Western Europe and Eastern Europe, as well as into Africa and the Middle East. Religion's actually pretty important in this game, because if you have too low of religious unity, it causes people to riot, and that is not good. I will have to deal with rebels, and I hate dealing with rebels. Our current religion is Sunni, so depending on if we want to go mysticism or legalism, provide different perks. So you have the mysticism, which increases our missionary strength, our morale of armies, and our fort defense, where if we lean toward the legalism, we get plus 20 tax modifier, plus 20% national manpower modifier, and negative 10 technology cost. Usually, I try to lean as much legalism as possible. I like getting money, and the technology cost is going to be really beneficial and crucial as time goes on. This is my military screen, so this will tell me my troops, how much the base costs and their maintenance per month. So you can see that horses typically cost a lot more in base of maintenance as well as cost. Navy, same thing. Let's see, we have military tactics, so that increases our discipline. We have our fort defense. We have cavalry to infantry ratio. So our army cannot be comprised of more than 60% of our cavalry. So we can't have more than 60% cavalry to unit troops. Combat width, this is how many troops I could have in a single line. We can upgrade this through our military tech. Siege ability, how many forts we have active. Army tradition, the higher army tradition typically, as you can see, improves the morale of armies, our manpower recovery speed, and so on and so forth. Morale of armies, the more morale we have, the less likely that our troops are going to break. We're able to increase our land force limit, and we have starting in the game, we have a pretty high land force limit. We'll take a look at one other thing before we end this video. This is our Navy, ship durability, and this is currently a general that we have, who actually is a pretty good general. Fire, shock, maneuver, and siege. So he has 3 pips in fire, shock, and maneuver, and 1 pip in siege. So he's a pretty good general. We can hire more generals here. We can hire an admiral. We can make our ruler a general, but that's kind of risky because if your ruler's a general, they could die. Let's see. These are our states, and our states kind of give us little bonuses. Our next video, I'll kind of show you how to manipulate the estates. That way they can work for you, because sometimes they are a pain. But yeah, I'm going to show you the ledger here. So I was talking about our army force limit. So we actually have a pretty high force limit. So right now we're number 4. We have the same amount of troops or capability of the Mamluks. Austria has 51. That's because they are the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire currently. And Ming has a ridiculous amount because they have a lot of development. So this screen, the army screen, is one of my favorite screens to use. I use it a lot to determine if I want to go to war with somebody. But yeah, so this is just the first video. Like I said, just kind of introducing what I go through in terms of Ottomans. What am I looking for? Kind of what my plans are. So like I said, I haven't even just unpaused it. I haven't unpaused it at all, and I've already done a lot. I'm going to be fabricating claims on Byzantium because I want to take over Constantinople, because there is a mission of mine to take Constantinople. Let's see. Conquer Greece, conquer Serbia. But yeah, once I conquer Byzantium, get Constantinople, I can move my capital there, and it gives me a lot of extra bonus and perks. So, diplomacy, we're going to go ahead and build our spy network, because in this game, you can't attack another nation unless you have a reason to go to war with them, or else you're going to get a lot of negative, not perks, but bad things will happen. But anyway, so this is going to be it for the video. Our next video will kind of go into the early stages of the game, what we kind of do, maybe go to war with Byzantium. But yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. But you guys rock. Thank you.